everyone, and welcome back to PropWay. So as you can see by the title, today's video is going to be on how I made Shang-Chi's staff from the movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And no, this jacket is not from Michael Jackson's Thriller music video. I actually bought this jacket from Disney World, and it is supposed to be Shang-Chi's jacket, or at least the casual version of Shang-Chi's jacket. But like I said, today's tutorial is about this staff right here, which is shown in the movie. And I actually have not seen the movie yet, so I'm building this based off of clips from the trailer and some screenshots. So I don't know if it's 100% movie accurate, but I think it looks pretty good. And the coolest part of this staff is that I built it so that the handle lights up. And from the few clips of the staff that I have seen, it does appear to be glowing, so I thought adding a light would make it a little more accurate. And this prop involved no soldering or wiring. All it is a flashlight that I stuck into a clear tube and wrapped with red poster board. And before we get on with the tutorial, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because it is what Shang-Chi would want you to do, and you don't want to disappoint Shang-Chi. So without further ado, let's get on with the tutorial. I'm so scared to hit this ceiling. Let's get on with the tutorial. So the main structure of this staff is a 1-inch PVC pipe, and basically we're going to be wrapping red poster board around the handle. But to get some nice texture, we have to do a little bit extra to that handle, so this is how I do it. So basically I cut out a rectangle that will fit the shape of the handle. And here you just kind of want to test it out to make sure it's long enough and it'll wrap around fully. Now this is how we get that weaved pattern. So basically I'm just drawing these diagonal lines onto the red poster board. So once you have the lines on there, you want to take a pair of scissors and start cutting those lines, but you don't want to cut all the way to the end. So you just want to cut all the lines all the way through, and this is what you should have. And once you have that, you want to cut a little strip out of those flaps. And the reason for this is because when we shine a light through, we want to have a little bit of a gap. And cutting out these little slits will give you that gap. So here I'm just cutting out those slits along the whole length, and now I just use an X-Acto knife to cut off those slits. And when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. And now to do the next part of the weave, we're going to cut out these strips of red poster board. You want the width of these strips to be about the same as the flaps on that bigger piece. And here you just start by going up and over each of those flaps. And now here I'm just cutting out more strips. And basically all we're going to do is keep doing that up and over pattern along the whole length of this poster board. And this part can take kind of long, but in the end it'll definitely be worth it. And when you're done, you should have something like this. And those holes in the middle of each strip is important because that's where the light is going to shine through. And now to hold all that in place, I'm just going to use a clear piece of tape. And I'm just going to tape the back side of it to make sure that these strips don't move. And now I just use an X-Acto knife to cut off the excess to get a nice square piece. And you should have 2 of these pieces because you're going to need one for each side of the handle. Now in addition to the PVC pipe, you're going to want this clear plastic hose. Doesn't necessarily need to be hose, but this is just a piece that I found at a hardware store. But you do need it to be stiff, and you do need it to be clear because the light is going to be shining through it. So here I'm just cutting this hose in half. And these are 2 equal pieces, about 1 foot long each. Looking back on it, I probably should have made it a little longer to make it more screen accurate, but this will do. So basically this tube is going to glue onto the end of the PVC pipe, and then we're going to wrap it with a poster board. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing for the next few minutes here. To cap the PVC pipe, I use a piece of aluminum tape to make it reflective. As you can see here, when I use a flashlight, you don't want the light to shine through the pipe, you want it to reflect it back to be as bright as possible. And here I'm just adding some super glue to the end of the PVC pipe. And I'm going to be gluing that clear plastic tube to the end of the PVC pipe. And to make it more secure, I'm just going to wrap that with some duct tape. Now before we put on that red handle, I am just going to be painting that PVC pipe. So first I start off by sanding it down, just to give it a little bit of a better surface to paint on. Here I'm using this tan colored paint. And this is just a brush on acrylic paint, and here I'm just going to be adding a few layers to the PVC pipe. You can definitely use spray paint here, but I prefer using a brush on paint just because it's easier for me to do. So now to put the red handle on, I'm just going to take some contact cement, and as you can see I'm just brushing it onto one edge of that red handle. And then we're going to brush on some more contact cement onto the actual PVC hose. And once you let that contact cement dry for a little bit, you're going to stick the 2 pieces together and make sure that it's sitting right on that hose nice and tight. And then once that's dried and secured, we're going to add some more contact cement onto the other side of the handle. And then we're going to finish wrapping that handle completely around, just like this. And you want to make sure that that handle is on nice and tight so that there's no room for any shaking or wobbling. Now I found these red flashlights from a hardware store, and they seem to fit actually quite perfectly into the hose. And this is what's going to provide that glow inside of the handle. As you can see here, there's light shining through those holes. And now we have a handle that lights up. But because that handle should be having a glow that's kind of an orange color, I'm going to be using this orange plastic here, and this will give the light a bit of an orange tint. So here I'm just tracing out the circle in the shape of the flashlight. And now I just cut it out and I stick it into the flashlight, and that should hold nice and tight. And if you need extra layers of that plastic to get a more orange color, you can definitely do that. And now I can just twist that light in. Make sure don't do it all the way, because then you won't be able to take it out. But once that's in, you should be able to turn on a light and have a nice orange glow. And here I'm turning off the light so you can see it a little easier. And there it is. And this is what the final product should look like.
So thank you guys for watching that tutorial.
As always, I hope you learned something and I hope you try it out for yourselves. And before I end this video, I just want to give a shout out to these people right here. On Instagram, I gave a very vague hint of what I was building, and these people guessed correctly that it was from the movie Shang-Chi. So congrats to these guys. If you guys want to participate in the next Guess What I'm Making, go follow me on Instagram at PropWay. And feel free to subscribe to me here on YouTube, like, comment, give me feedback, tell me what you want me to make next. And I read all my comments and I try to respond to most of them. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.